The Aurora Vanguard glided through the darkness of space, its sleek hull absorbing starlight like a predator cloaked in shadow. Captain Elena Drake stood on the bridge, her hands clasped behind her back, her sharp gaze fixed on the holographic display in front of her. It projected a Virixian dreadnought looming near Arcadia Prime, a human colony on the edge of UGA space. "Report," she commanded, her voice a steady anchor against the rising tension on the bridge. Lieutenant Soren, a wiry young officer with quick reflexes, turned from his console. "Virixian forces have initiated a full blockade of Arcadia Prime. Their flagship eviscerators sent an ultimatum: unconditional surrender within 12 hours or they raze the colony." A heavy silence settled over the room. Elena's expression hardened. "Casualty estimates?" Soren hesitated. "With their orbital artillery, nearly total loss of life." 3 million. Murmurs rippled through the bridge. The crew looked to Elena, searching for reassurance. "Open the comm logs," she ordered. "Let's hear their arrogance." Soren tapped a command, and a guttural, distorted voice filled the bridge. "Humans," the message sneered. "Your pitiful colony has no chance. Surrender your world and your lives will be spared. Refuse, and we will leave nothing but ash in our wake. This galaxy has no room for weakness." The message ended abruptly, leaving a simmering anger in its wake. Elena straightened, her voice sharp as a blade. "Transmit this to all decks: humanity will not surrender. Not today! Not ever!" The crew stiffened, their fear yielding to determination. In her ready room, Elena sat at her desk, the dim lighting casting long shadows across her face. The hum of the ship was a low, constant reminder of the fragile line between survival and destruction. She activated a secure channel, and the face of Admiral Jonas Hale appeared on the screen. "Elena," Hale began, his tone grim. "I'm assuming you've seen the Virixian move." "Every detail," she replied, her voice cold. "And I know what you're about to say. The UGA Council wants to negotiate." Hale nodded reluctantly. "They believe Arcadia Prime is a small price to pay for peace." Elena's fist slammed against the desk. 3 million lives, Admiral. How is that acceptable?" "It's not," Hale admitted, his voice softening. "But the Council doesn't understand what's at stake like we do. They don't see the bigger picture." "Then it's up to us to make them see," Elena said, leaning forward. "I'm activating Project Aegis." Hale's eyes widened. "Elena, that program was meant for a last resort. If the galaxy sees what we're truly capable of, they'll think twice before underestimating us again." Elena interrupted. "You and I both know humanity's been hiding in plain sight for centuries. It's time to stop pretending." Hale was silent for a moment before nodding. "Do what you need to do. Just make sure you're ready for the fallout." "I always am." Elena ended the transmission and exhaled slowly, the weight of her decision settling over her. Hours later, the Aurora Vanguard crept closer to the Virixian blockade, its cloaking field rendering it invisible. The bridge was a hive of activity, each officer working with precision. "Status?" Elena asked. "Cloak holding steady," Soren reported. "We're in visual range of the eviscerator. Their sensors haven't detected us." Elena nodded. "Good. Initiate recon scans. I want a full analysis of their fleet composition and weaknesses." The display lit up with a cascade of data as the ship's AI processed the scans. The Virixian fleet was formidable: 12 capital ships, dozens of support frigates, and a swarm of fighters. The odds were grim, but Elena's mind was already forming a plan. "Captain," Soren said, his voice tinged with unease, "if we engage, we'll be outnumbered 10 to 1. "Outnumbered doesn't mean outmatched," Elena replied. "Remember that." She turned to the tactical officer. "Bring the quantum cannons online and prepare the EMP payloads. Target their communications relays and shield generators first." "Aye, Captain." The air on the bridge grew taut with anticipation. Elena could feel the crew's eyes on her, their trust unwavering. "This is what we've trained for," she said, her voice steady. "We've spent years watching and waiting, learning everything we can about the galaxy. Now it's time to show them what humanity can do. No hesitation, no holding back. Let's remind them why we're still here. As the Aurora Vanguard moved into position, Elena's thoughts turned to Arcadia Prime. The colony was more than just a strategic foothold. It was a symbol of humanity's resilience and determination. Losing it wasn't an option. The tactical officer spoke up. EMP payloads ready. Cannons charged. Targets locked. On my mark, Elena said, her voice a razor's edge. She watched the countdown on the display. 5 seconds. 4. 3. Mark! The Aurora Vanguard decloaked, its sleek hull gleaming under the starlight. Twin bursts of energy erupted from its cannons, striking the Varixian communications relays with pinpoint precision. The enemy fleet erupted into chaos as their systems scrambled to compensate. EMP away! A cascade of electromagnetic pulses rippled through the Varixian fleet, disabling shields and leaving their ships vulnerable. Fire at will! Elena commanded. The Aurora Vanguard unleashed a storm of firepower, tearing through the Varixian ships with brutal efficiency. The crew worked in perfect harmony, every shot a testament to humanity's hidden strength. Enemy flagship targeting us! Soren called out. Elena smirked. Let them try. The Eviscerator fired its massive plasma cannons, but the Aurora Vanguard was too fast, weaving through the onslaught with surgical precision. Torpedoes away, the tactical officer reported. The torpedoes struck the Eviscerator's engines, engulfing the flagship in a blinding explosion. The bridge erupted into cheers, but Elena raised a hand, silencing them. This isn't over, she said. The Varixians will regroup. And when they do, we'll be ready. The crew nodded, their determination renewed. In the aftermath of the battle, Elena stood on the observation deck, staring out at the debris field. The stars beyond seemed brighter, as if celebrating humanity's defiance. A soft chime signaled an incoming transmission. It was Admiral Hale. Well done, Captain, he said. The galaxy won't forget this. Good, Elena replied. Because neither will we. The transmission ended, leaving Elena alone with her thoughts. Humanity had taken its first step out of the shadows, and there was no turning back. The Aurora Vanguard hung silently in space, cloaked and hidden in the aftermath of its daring first engagement. The crew's adrenaline hadn't waned, but the stakes had risen sharply. On the main tactical display, a map of the Varixian fleet flickered. They had regrouped, deploying reinforcements from a nearby stronghold. The sheer scale of their forces dwarfed the Vanguard, even with humanity's hidden advantages. Captain Elena Drake stood at the center of the bridge, her presence commanding and steady. Around her, the crew worked in tense synchronization, each movement deliberate and precise. Elena, Lieutenant Soren said, his voice low but insistent. The Varixians are consolidating their position. If they reinforce the blockade, Arcadia Prime will be cut off completely. Elena nodded, her sharp eyes locked on the tactical display. They're overconfident. That's their weakness. She tapped the console, zooming in on the Varixian flagship, Relentless Fury. We hit them here. Take out their command structure, and the rest will crumble. The room fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Captain, Lieutenant Kayla Mendez, the ship's tactical officer, spoke up. The Relentless Fury is heavily shielded. Even with our cannons, it'll take sustained fire to bring it down. That's why we won't aim for the hull, Elena replied. Her finger traced a weak point on the display, a junction in the flagship's power network. We target their core systems, power, propulsion, and command. Disable them, and they're dead in the water. A murmur of agreement rippled through the bridge. Hours later, the Aurora Vanguard slipped through the void, a ghost among stars. Its cloaking field shimmered faintly as it approached the Varixian fleet. On the bridge, every officer was at their station, the atmosphere charged with quiet determination. Tactical analysis complete, Mendez reported. The Relentless Fury is surrounded by 2 cruisers and a squadron of fighters. Their patrol patterns are predictable, but their sensor network is tight. Elena considered the report, her mind running through possible scenarios. What's the status of our decoy drones? Fully operational, Soren said. We can deploy them on your command. Good, Elena said. Send the drones to the outer perimeter. Make it look like a UGA scout ship stumbled into their territory. When they take the bait, we move. Soren nodded and began relaying orders. Minutes later, the decoy drones lit up the Variction sensors, mimicking the emissions of a small scout ship. The response was immediate. The two cruisers broke formation, moving to intercept the supposed intruder. Cruisers are leaving the flagship's side, Soren confirmed. Fighters? Elena asked. They're holding position, but their patrol patterns are shifting, Mendez replied. There's an opening. Elena's lips curved into a slight smile. Perfect. Helm, take us in. The Aurora Vanguard surged forward, its engines whisper quiet under the cloaking field. The tension on the bridge was palpable as the ship closed the distance to the relentless Fury. Range? Elena asked. 5 kilometers, Soren replied. Their sensors still haven't detected us. Prepare EMP charges, Elena ordered. Target their shield emitters. The tactical display updated, highlighting the emitters' locations. Charges ready, Mendez confirmed. Elena took a deep breath. Drop the cloak. Fire on my mark. The Aurora Vanguard decloaked in a flash, its sleek form emerging from the void like a predator pouncing on unsuspecting prey. Mark! The EMP charges launched, streaking toward the relentless Fury. They detonated with blinding precision, sending ripples of electromagnetic energy through the flagship's shields. Direct hit! Mendez called out. Their shields are down! Target their propulsion systems, Elena commanded. Fire quantum cannons! The Aurora Vanguard unleashed a barrage of glowing projectiles, each one striking with pinpoint accuracy. Explosions rippled along the relentless Fury's hull as its engines sputtered and died. They're immobilized, Soren reported, his voice tinged with awe. Not yet, Elena said, her eyes narrowing. Mendez, prepare a boarding team. I want their command core taken intact. Aye, Captain. Minutes later, Elena led the boarding team herself, donning advanced combat armor that shimmered faintly with energy shielding. The Aurora Vanguard's shuttles breached the relentless Fury's outer hull, cutting through with precision drills. The boarding party moved swiftly through the corridors, their weapons drawn. Variction soldiers engaged them sporadically, but humanity's advanced tactics and equipment gave them a decisive edge. Command deck ahead, Mendez said, her voice steady despite the chaos. Elena nodded, signaling her team to take positions. She activated her comlink. Variction Command, this is Captain Elena Drake of the Aurora Vanguard. Stand down, and you'll be treated with dignity. A guttural laugh crackled over the comms. Human arrogance. You think you can dictate terms? Elena's expression remained cold. I think you should look out your window. A nearby viewport revealed the burning wreckage of Variction support ships, remnants of the Aurora Vanguard's assault. The laughter ceased. Last chance, Elena said. The door to the command deck slid open, revealing Variction officers scrambling at their stations. Elena and her team entered, their weapons trained on the room. The commander, a towering Variction with mottled green skin, stepped forward, his claws flexing. What do you want, human? Your surrender, Elena said. And your fleet's withdrawal from Arcadia Prime. The commander snarled. We'll never. Elena raised her weapon, its barrel glowing with contained energy. I wasn't asking. A tense silence filled the room. Finally, the commander lowered his claws. You'll regret this. Elena's gaze didn't waver. Maybe. But you won't live to see it. Back on the Aurora Vanguard, Elena watched as the Variction fleet began retreating. The relentless Fury had been crippled, its crew evacuated, and its systems thoroughly sabotaged. Victory feels good, doesn't it? Soren said, stepping beside her. It's not victory yet, Elena replied, her tone somber. They'll be back. Stronger and angrier. Then we'll be ready, Soren said. Elena nodded, her gaze fixed on the stars. Humanity had struck its first blow, but the war was far from over. For now, though, they had shown the galaxy what they were capable of, and that was enough. The stars blurred past the Aurora Vanguard as it raced toward the edge of Arcadia Prime's gravity well. Behind them, the wreckage of the Varixian fleet floated in a silent testament to humanity's ingenuity and defiance. But Captain Elena Drake's focus was far from the scene of their hard-won victory. The victory was temporary, and she knew it. "Status report," Elena ordered, her voice cutting through the hum of the bridge. Lieutenant Soren glanced at his console, his brow furrowed. "Arcadia Prime is secure for now, but we've intercepted transmissions from the Varixian High Command. They've declared humanity a Tier 1 threat." The crew fell silent, the weight of those words sinking in. For centuries, humanity had hidden its true potential, biding its time as other galactic civilizations underestimated them. Now, the mask was off, and the galaxy was watching. "What's the likelihood of retaliation?" Elena asked, her tone steady despite the storm brewing within her. "High," Soren admitted. "The Varixians will regroup, and next time, they'll bring their full armada. They won't stop until they've erased the stain of this defeat." Elena nodded, her mind already racing with strategies. "Prepare a secure line to UJ Command. They need to know what's coming." In her ready room, Elena sat across from a holographic projection of Admiral Jonas Hale. His expression was grim, his uniform immaculate but carrying the air of someone who hadn't slept in days. "You've stirred up a hornet's nest, Captain," Hale said, leaning forward. "The Council's in an uproar. Some are calling for your commendation, others want you court-martialed." "I'll take the commendation," Elena replied dryly. Hale's lips twitched in a faint smile, but the humor didn't reach his eyes. "Jokes aside, you've put us on a knife's edge. The Varixians aren't the only ones paying attention. Our allies are worried about escalation, and our enemies are recalculating their odds." "That was inevitable," Elena said firmly. "Humanity's been pretending for too long. The galaxy needs to see we're not prey, we're predators." Hale sighed, rubbing his temples. "The Council won't see it that way. They think you've jeopardized decades of diplomacy. They'll change their tune when the Varixians send their armada," Elena countered. "This isn't about diplomacy anymore. It's survival." Hale studied her, his expression softening. "What's your plan?" "Arcadia Prime is secure, but it's only a matter of time before they attack again. We need to make it clear that any assault on humanity will come at a cost they can't afford." Hale's eyes narrowed. "You're talking deterrence." "Exactly," Elena said. "We hit their forward base, hard. Take out their supply lines, cripple their logistics. Make them bleed before they even reach us." Hale nodded slowly. "I'll authorize it, but you need to be careful. One wrong move, and we'll be fighting the entire galaxy." Elena's gaze didn't waver. "If that's what it takes to ensure humanity's survival, so be it." The Aurora Vanguard entered slip space, its destination a Varixian supply depot hidden in the asteroid belt of the Vraxis system. The crew worked tirelessly, each member acutely aware of the high stakes. "ETA to target?" Elena asked, standing at the helm. "For hours," Soren replied. "No signs they've detected us yet." Elena turned to Kayla Mendez. "What do we know about their defenses?" Mendez tapped her console, bringing up a schematic of the depot. "Standard complement of automated turrets and a small garrison. The bigger problem is their orbital defense grid. It's designed to detect and neutralize anything that comes within 20 clicks." "Options?" Elena asked. "We could try a direct assault, but it'd be costly," Mendez said. "Alternatively, we infiltrate the grid's control station and disable it from the inside." Elena nodded. "The second option gives us a better chance of success. Assemble an infiltration team. I want this done quickly and quietly." As the Aurora Vanguard approached the Vraxis system, Elena led the infiltration team aboard a stealth shuttle. Clad in advanced combat armor, they slipped through the asteroid field, the depot's defense grid looming ahead like a spider's web. Stay tight, Elena said over the comms. We're ghosts until we reach the control station. The shuttle landed undetected on the surface of the asteroid housing the grid's main hub. The team moved swiftly through the narrow corridors, their steps muffled by the armor's sound-dampening technology. Hostiles ahead, Mendez whispered, holding up a hand. Elena signaled for silence, peering around the corner. A group of Verixian guards stood at a junction, their weapons slung lazily over their shoulders. We take them quietly, Elena ordered. The team moved like shadows, dispatching the guards with precise, silent strikes. Within minutes, they reached the control station. Riggs, you're up, Elena said, gesturing to the team's tech specialist. Riggs knelt by the control terminal, his fingers flying over the interface. This is going to take a minute. They've got layers of encryption. Hurry, Elena said, her eyes scanning the corridor for any signs of reinforcements. The sound of boots echoed in the distance, growing louder. We've got company, Mendez warned, raising her rifle. Riggs? Elena pressed. Almost there, he replied, sweat beading on his forehead. The first wave of Verixian soldiers rounded the corner, their weapons blazing. Elena and her team returned fire, their shots precise and deadly. Done! Riggs shouted. Elena didn't hesitate. Fall back to the shuttle. Move! The team retreated, covering each other as they made their way back to the stealth shuttle. The depot's defense grid flickered and died, leaving the facility vulnerable. Back aboard the Aurora Vanguard, Elena wasted no time. Target the depot's reactor, she ordered. Make it clean and decisive. The ship's cannons fired, their blasts striking the depot with pinpoint accuracy. The reactor went critical, erupting in a chain of explosions that consumed the facility. Target destroyed, Mendez reported, her voice tinged with satisfaction. Elena allowed herself a small smile. That'll slow them down. Soren looked up from his console. Incoming transmission from Admiral Hale. Put it through, Elena said. Hale's image appeared on the main display. I've been monitoring your progress. Excellent work, Elena. The Verixians are scrambling to assess the damage. They'll retaliate, Elena said. Undoubtedly, Hale replied. But for now, you've bought us time. The Council's even reconsidering their stance. You've proven humanity can stand on its own. It's a start, Elena said. But this isn't over. No, it's not, Hale agreed. But you've given us hope. That's more than we had yesterday. The transmission ended, and Elena turned to her crew. We've sent a message today. Let's make sure the galaxy hears it loud and clear. The crew erupted into cheers, their resolve strengthened. As Elena stared out at the stars, she knew the path ahead would be fraught with danger. But humanity had taken its first steps into the light, and there was no turning back.